This is the plaintiff, Tanya Graham. She says she and the defendant have a son together, and he has a daughter from another woman. In the summer of 2012, she was going to take her son and the defendant's daughter on a cruise to Hawaii. The defendant was supposed to reimburse her for his daughter's portion, but hasn't. And here they are, in the People's Court. She's suing for $1,623.39, the defendant's daughter's portion of the trip. This is the defendant, William Wells. He says he paid the plaintiff $1,900 for the trip because their deal was he would help her pay as much as he could. He never agreed to pay an exact amount. After all, this was a trip she planned, she went on and enjoyed, and he's given her more than his fair share of money for it. He's accused of hitting rough seas with an ex.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn.
Thank you.
You got it.
Tanya Graham?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the father of your son, William Wells, for $1,623.39 that you say he still owes you for a vacation he was supposed to pay for his child.
That is correct.
Okay. Not the child you share together, but his child with another woman.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Tell me what happened.
Your Honor, I belong to a travel group. In 2012,
What's a travel group?
We organize getaways,
Okay.
cruises, inclusive trips, bus rides, anything. So every year we get a breakdown to do a cruise for the following year. Just to give a little history about me and the defendant, we have a son together. He's 21 now. He has a daughter from another relationship.
He has a daughter.
The defendant has
Okay.
a daughter from another relationship after me.
Okay.
We broke up not too long after my son was born, but we've remained great co-parenting unit.
That's great.
We communicate perfectly. He has never done anything to disown or neglect his child, nothing to that. So when he had a daughter, my son grew up with his daughter, his sister.
Your son grew up with his sister.
Correct.
Okay.
So everything was the same. My son would go to his house on the weekends. He saw his father every weekend. His daughters come to my house. It's almost like I have another child. I call her my daughter. That's how close we are. I've been in her life since she was born. With that being said, I take her everywhere. As many times as I can, as often as I can. That's how close-knit we are. This trip to
That's
Hawaii...
so nice. I wish it just ended right there.
Yeah. It would have. I mean, can I tell you...
It was so perfect. I would have felt so good.
Your Honor, I couldn't
So
tell
warm and
you
fuzzy.
in a billion years that I would ever think I would go through this with the defendant. That's how close we were.
Okay.
In any event, we planned the trip for 2012. I explained to him I could not afford to take me, my son, and her. But I told him I couldn't afford to do all three of us. It was Hawaii. So
It was Hawaii and then a cruise from Hawaii.
we flew to Honolulu and then we cruised 8 days. And it was going to be great. He agreed. Not
He agreed
a
to
problem.
what?
He agreed to pay for her portion of the trip.
How much was her portion of the trip?
It was the $1,835 plus the airfare.
The $1,835 was for the cruise?
Was for the cruise entirety.
And the airfare?
I was able to get the airfare for $965.
Did he approve that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So go on.
So everything was going fine. He was making monthly payments up until July of 2013. And that was because he lost his job. We, at the time, we kind of sidetracked off of the trip and concentrated on his unemployment, and
You concentrated on his unemployment?
I did. I really did.
Like, meaning what? What did you do?
Like, I was asking him, well, were you looking here? I'm looking at job postings. I'm emailing him places. I signed him up. I signed him up to a Facebook group for retired MTA workers called Getting People Back to Work. I signed him up to that group because...
What, are you with somebody now?
Yes.
Me? Yeah, I've been with the same woman for
all that time,
20
right?
years.
All that time. And how do you two get along?
We're great. We're great.
I wish she was here. I would like to get the full experience.
We're great.
I know people. I have a cousin like this, and I think it's so kind to the children.
Yes.
To be able to have holidays together and
until
stuff like
now.
it's so incredibly sensitive to the children. But it takes a special kind of people. Both sides have to be really special kind of people to be able to. Both sides and her. Mm-hmm. You're present because she's Okay, but then there's more. But wait, there's more.
Yes,
so
there
he
is
loses
more.
his job. You're concentrating. You're not hounding him for the money.
No.
Okay, and then what happens?
So, as July into August, we're talking about his unemployment. He filed for unemployment. We were waiting for it to kick in. By August to September, I asked him, well, what are we going to do about Jelani's trip? The child is Jelani. What are we going to do about Jelani's trip? Do you still want her to go? Well, let me get through this unemployment. We're still going to work it out. I don't want to cancel her trip.
Did you go back to work?
I went back to work in August of 2014, but we hadn't spoken. There was no communication whatsoever once I started back to work.
Why?
I just felt that the whole time I was out of work and the whole time I was going through what I was going through, there was no moral support. There was nothing. And
Okay, so did you feel like maybe she should say, I got this one, once you were unemployed?
Yeah.
I kind of think that's what you think.
Yeah.
I think you have come to expect a lot out of your good relationship with your ex.
No, I don't think that's it at all.
I mean, how could that
when
be?
I stopped working in July and we had that discussion and she asked me what I was going to do, told her I don't know.
Well, what you should have done is cancel it if you couldn't keep paying it.
Well, that was her choice. She could have canceled it.
No. You don't tell me that you tried to cancel and she didn't. That's not what you're saying.
No, I didn't say I
Right.
tried to
Did
cancel.
you want your daughter to not go on the cruise?
I did want her to go on the
Okay,
cruise.
and you do understand that's your daughter from a different union, right? That's not her daughter.
Exactly.
Okay, just want to make sure everybody gets. I mean, I understand that she calls her my daughter, and how does the mother of that child feel about that?
No problem.
no
When she
problem.
calls me, she says, I'm calling about your daughter.
It's
Okay.
not a problem.
Listen carefully to me. I love you people, and I want to be in your lives. Like, that's what I want now. It's like, but Mr. Wells, I'm kind of disappointed in this, and the fact that you end up here on something like this.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Is it generally possible for two people who break up to still be close and friendly for the sake of the kids?
Yes. And because for the children, you will make your own relationship work.
It's a great theory. Do you think it happens in practice?
I think yes, if they consider taking care of their children and keep it.
Okay. So why do people fight so much after they get divorced, even when there are kids involved?
Well, when you break up a bond, I mean, people are going to have an animosity, and that animosity is relevant to kids. I mean, the kids see animosity.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You know, it's one thing if you said to her, I've been going through trouble, you should have let me pay you a smaller amount, and then worked it out. But he just stopped paying and then said, I'm not going to pay you anymore?
I didn't just stop paying. I lost my job. There was nothing.
You paid without a job for many months after you didn't have a job.
With my unemployment until it ran out.
Right. And then why don't you have a conversation with the person you owe $300 every other month to?
My phone got cut off.
How are your fingers doing?
My fingers are fine.
So maybe you could, I would guess that I could reach 3 feet and touch someone's phone these days.
Of course.
Okay, so you could have called her, right?
Yeah,
Come on, Mr. Wells, you're disappointing me. You have like a great thing going where she takes your daughter. And this is good for your son that you share too, because your son has a sibling who's, best friend cradle to grave. When you two are old and decrepit, those two kids can rely on each other to help out, and your daughter will be helping her out, and the son will be helping I don't know if she's your wife or your girlfriend out too.
No,
this is like the best.
There is no more relationship between the son anymore.
With you and your son?
No.
Why? Because of this?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm really mad. You have allowed, how much money's left?
I have $965 for the airfare, and the remainder of the cruise he didn't pay was the $658.39.
Over $1,600, you lost your son and one of your close friends?
I didn't lose them. When I was going through that.
Can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
Seriously. You had to do this to her and then lose your son. Apparently the price wasn't only losing her, which I thought was bad enough. So your son has not spoken to him in how long?
My son hasn't spoken to him since February 5th. He texted him for his birthday. His birthday was
Who
February.
texted who?
My son texted his father for his birthday to say happy birthday and see how he was doing and should he come by. And his father's response was he was at work, don't come by. So he hasn't spoken to him since then.
No, you may not. Sometimes money costs too much. And this is one of those times. I am ordering you to pay $1,623.39 to the plaintiff. It boggles the imagination that you have let it get this far and that you would not have spoken to your son when you hear, I don't know what you think was going on, but when you hear what she just said, that your son feels that when he calls you, you brush him off, that better be moving something inside of you. Very disappointed in you, Mr. Wells. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So after losing this case, the defendant, the judge is very disappointed in you. You just heard her say that, her last words before leaving the bench.
It's not true. Not true, though. He's reaching out to me, so they say, but I've seen him multiple times, and he had nothing to say to me.
Well, do you regret letting this money issue become something that interfered with your family relationships?
I didn't let it come that way. So.
Well, what are you saying? What do you have to say about it?
Nothing.
All right, head right down there then. What is that?
I've been trying to figure it out for the longest. We've never had a barrier. We've always had good communication. It wasn't until he lost his job and he couldn't pay anymore, then everything stopped. It's like I'm no longer family. I'm no longer a friend. Everything that we've gone through for the past 20 years went to nothing after he lost his job. And I guess that's where he wants it to stay. I can't really make heads or tails of it.
Pride's a good guess.
And it's costly, too.
Harvey?
You know, I got to say, this is really a sad case. It sounds like the animosity between the adults have really made the son suffer. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.